Peace and blessings to the family. It's me, Coach67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den Boston community. Shout out to the Louisiana All-American Sports Network. Shout out to M Vision Photography and Video. And shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. In this particular edition of Jaguar Talk with Coach67, I'm going to talk a little bit about both Southern University football and Southern University basketball. But let's see who we got in the building. The family in the building already. Motivation to be a millionaire. Salute Coach67. Chat, HBCU family, and Jaguar Nation. Salute to your motivation to be a millionaire. Relaxing, calming rain. Salute Coach, Chat, HBCU family, and Jaguar Nation. Followed by that, I hope the men and women win the SWAC tournament championship. Oh, me too. I'm going to talk about it in a little bit. Go Jags. Yes, sir. So, y'all already know it's kind of customary for me and my family. Well, at this point, it used to be the four of us. My dad was still living. My dad, my mom, my sister, myself. Then, when my sister had my niece, then at certain points it'll be, my mom and my nephew. But he didn't come. It was just my mom and I. We went to the season finale for Southern University men. We would have went to the women's game, but on Saturday, tip-off was at noon. And I'm like, man, that's kind of early. So, of course, Southern University women, man, they put a beat down on Bethune-Cookman. Southern University women beat Bethune-Cookman 73-47. So, Carlos Funches and the Lady Jags, I'm real confident that they could get the job done. And, overall, I just got to say Coach Funches, he's done an excellent job. Salute to him. Adrian Crook is in the building. He said, JSU musty. Man, Crook, you something else. All right. Then we get to the screenshot that you see on your screen. Southern University men lose to Bethune-Cookman 79-82. I mean, literally at the buzzer. They missed a 3-point shot that would have tied the game sitting in overtime. But just like usual, not only did Bethune-Cookman beat Southern men 82-79, but the thing that really caused Southern men the game was all the missed free throws. I used to tell my players all the time for middle school basketball games, close losses come down to turnovers, missed layups, and missed free throws. In Southern University, they turn the ball over a lot at inopportune times. And then in addition to that, they miss a ridiculous amount of free throws. And they just, they miss some layups too. But they turn the ball over at bad times. But more than anything, they miss a lot of free throws. I'm like, my goodness, bro. Dang. Adrian Crook said, nobody knows practice squad TC. Slapping TC Taylor. And Adrian Crook said more people know Diddy Bottle and Baby All than TC. Ooh, dang. In fact, I'm finna throw the Southern football in a minute, Crook. But I was at the game, and of course, 8E was in the building representing. So of course, more than anything, we want Southern University, men and women, to go to the SWAC tournament and win a championship, both on the men's side and the women's side. So, major props, major shout out, Southern University, men, led by head coach Kevin Johnson. Southern University, women, led by head coach Carlos Funches. Hopefully both teams could go get the job done and win the SWAC tournament championship. But like I was saying, 8E was definitely in the building for the basketball game. And I don't know what it is, but the people that sit in AE is like they're the diehard members of Jaguar Nation. Shout out, uh, shout out to Coach Kevin Walker. Man, hey, I saw a few people that sit in my section at all the football games. Coach Kevin Walker, Chuck Fontenot, man, salute to them. I saw Chuck Fontenot first. Just was good to see him. Sit in my section for Southern University home football games. And then after that, I talked to Coach Kevin Walker, and me and him just chopped it up for about 5 minutes or whatever. He was like, "Man, what's up, Coach?" I'm like, "Man, what's up, man?" We just talked for a little minute. And basically he was saying, I cannot wait for football spring. I can't wait for the blue versus gold spring game. And I'm like, man, me too. I just can't wait till, we get the spring game going, you know what I'm saying? And basically he was like, he tired of the same old nonsense in terms of the all the chatter. I guess, I'm hearing it a lot. I know he hearing it a lot. You know what I'm saying? Adrian Crook said, shout out to anyone that dislikes Jackson State. Man, Crook, you a fool, man. But but he was saying, he just tired of like all of the conversations, all the noise. We know that this is a dead part of the season where you're in the off season. You really didn't get to the spring game yet. So you really can't evaluate, some of the players that Coach Faulk and his staff brought in. But he was like, basically just tired of all the off-season chatter and conversation. And he was saying people don't really know all the things Coach Faulk is doing behind the scenes. So he was like, for people to jump to the conclusion already that, Coach Faulk was a bad hire. He was like, man, people just need to chill and just let Coach Faulk do his job and do his thing. And I'm like, man, I agree with you 100%. In fact, we talked about this on the Southern Baller Show. Salute to my brothers Jared 11 Green, salute to JB, and salute to Big Joe Townsend. Joe Townsend was talking about when he was at Louisville, and he was saying he had one head coach that they never saw doing spring conditioning, spring workouts, so on and so forth. And then he was like, then, they had Charlie Strong, and he was like, man, Charlie Strong will be the guy working in. He'd be the guy to work out in by the time it was time for them to come into the facility and live or whatever. And he'd be sitting there like fully drenched in sweat because he done already got him a workout in. So the point he trying to make is like he done had coaches on one end of the spectrum from a standpoint of coaches that he saw in the building all the time. And he was like, he had another head coach that he never saw. So one coach he saw all the time, the other head coach he never saw when he was at Louisville. And he was like, at the end of the day, it really don't make a difference from the perspective of, I'm not saying off-season conditioning, off-season workouts aren't important, but in terms of the head coach being there, that's not going to make a difference in terms of whether games are won or lost. And more than anything, what he was saying was, like, people making a big deal about it. He was like, as an outsider. And I'm glad he gave his perspective and his point of view, because basically he was saying that, it seemed like people are just nitpicking They just trying to find something to talk about. They just trying to find something to complain about. You know, I tell this story all the time, being in a relationship with a woman and she get to complaining. Literally, I was in a relationship where this woman was complaining about me sliding my feet when I walk. And then in addition to that, me smacking when I eat my food. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, bro, so you really don't have nothing to complain about if you nitpicking every little thing. So at the end of the day, basically that's what he was saying. He was saying, like, it's extremely like nitpicky. You really trying to find fault. You trying to go out your way to find fault. He was like, man, just give the man an off season. Just give him a chance and an opportunity to do his job and to do his thing. So at the end of the day, you know, he was in agreement with me. So, that's one thing I was kind of like, all right. So it made me look like, yeah, I knew what I was talking about, you know what I'm saying? So that's that. And like I said, I was in complete agreement with with Kevin Walker from the standpoint of he was like, man, he can't wait to this, to the spring game because right now it's just like this conversation that we've been having. It done pretty much spiraled out of control. I think it's died down some, but it's still, it's still some buzz about the whole offseason situation, right? Then, a couple people texted me this clip. Evidently, Marshall Faulk, he did like a little local thing or whatever, and people complaining about in the picture, the screenshot, that he does not have Southern University gear on in the screenshot. And I'm like, bro, come on, man. Is this what we doing, bro? Like, is this really, really what we doing? So, like, man, I'm like, bro, this crazy to me. It really don't make no sense. I mean, but at this point, I'm like, So, Adrian Crook said, "It's football season now. Smell the air." Oh yeah, without question. I'm not gonna lie. You definitely got to feel the spring, Adrian Crook. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you could feel spring. So yeah, it's definitely football time. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, Adrian Crook said he's being a real head coach, and that's the thing about it. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, people that really, never played the game, that really don't understand the game, it's like they are the most vocal when it comes to these type of topics and these type of situations. And I'm like, man, it's just baffling to me. I'm like, at least give the man a chance to at least get through spring practice and a spring game before we even start to evaluate a little bit, you know. So I mean, I don't know. It's just crazy to me. And like, Kevin Walker was saying, he was like, man, y'all don't even know what this man doing behind the scenes. So like, it is what it is. uh, Andrew Crook said, don't nobody know Practice Squad TC. He only has YouTube. Man, Crook going in. He said that's the DC and the OC job and the assistant. Yeah, yeah. And Joe Thomas was saying this too. He was like, he said the person you're gonna spend the most time with. He said this, Saturday not Saturday, but Sunday on the Southern Baller Show. Basically, he was saying that, that's the position coach job. Like, he was like, he spent the most time with his position coach more than anything, more than anybody. So, yeah, you basically saying the same thing he said, Crook. So, yeah, you're right. And Adrian Crook said this ain't high school people. Big facts. You know, and I think that's the thing about it. You know, it ain't like a high school coach that actually, you know, work at the high school, might be a PE teacher, or even maybe teach a core curriculum subject where he at the school all the time, whatever the case may be. Like, you know, he a former NFL player. He got, assistant coaches with NFL experience. So at the end of the day, it's like, come on, man. Like, Like this what we doing? Like they complaining about like literally every little thing. So at the end of the day, we'll see how things play out. But all of these doubters and naysayers, if Southern goes 11-2 and win the Celebration Bowl, let's see if they're gonna have that same energy if that's the case. So, the little things about, him not wearing Southern University paraphernalia, Southern University merchandise, him not having a link in his bio that he's the head football coach of Southern University, the fact that he didn't come to National Signing Day at TJ Ribs. I'm not saying it wouldn't have been good had all those things happen, but I'm saying these aren't make or break things. And the fact that, Big Joe talked about this Saturday. Let me keep saying Saturday. I don't know why. I keep thinking about the basketball game on Saturday. But the fact that he said this Sunday on the Southern Baller Show, like it was just confirmation to me. And that all of these people that's, saying, hey, he was a bad hire, it's too early to even make that evaluation or that assessment. And Adrian Cook saying facts. Adrian Cook said, people making fun of players stretching says it all. LOL. I mean, that's the thing about it. You don't expect players to stretch. I mean, come on, man. Like, is this what we complaining about? I mean, bruh, we complaining about players. We laughing at players stretching, making fun of players stretching. Like, come on, bro. All right, so y'all want players to go out there and play, any sport, especially football, basketball, whatever. Go out there and play a game or practice or whatever the case may be without stretching. Man, that is insane to me, bro. So it goes to show you how in a vacuum that a lot of these individuals, that's fault finding and nitpicking and complaining, like they don't even know the game. They don't understand the game. Man, bro, it's it's crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? Adrian Crook said, tearing muscles everywhere, no stretching. And that's the thing about it. This not like the uncoordinated, unathletic individuals you used to seeing, if you go to your local YMCA or, you go to your local park where you got like a 50-year-old guy out there with his grandkids or, these guys are college athletes. For you to expect the guy to go out there and not stretch, man, you tearing all kind of muscles, hamstrings, quad, whatever, bro. So, man, like, bro, I don't get it. And that's why I say I love Jaguar Nation, but at the same token, like, bro, like, the fan base could be like extremely nitpicky. They could be looking to find fault, at the least little thing. And then in addition to that, I know there's a portion of the fan base that wasn't happy with the hiring of Marshall Faulk. They thought it was we got another celebrity coach, whatever the case may be. And then not only that, there's a portion of Jaguar Nation also that, despite who they would have hired, I don't care if we talking about Trey Oliver, or Chennis Berry, Dawson Odoms, pick whoever you want to pick. They wouldn't have been happy nor satisfied no matter who was hired. So at the end of the day, it's like, man, look, that conversation, as far as I'm concerned, is a moot conversation. But more than anything, like I'm looking forward to, just some news in terms of spring training. And more than anything, I just can't wait for the blue versus gold spring game. I'm really looking forward to when it's gonna be. I know it's probably gonna be like the second or third week in April. That's when it usually is. So if I really can't pinpoint, but if I had to guess, I'll probably say it's gonna be April the 11th or April the 18th. At earliest, not. I don't think you're gonna get it on April the 4th. because April the 4th is in between Good Friday and Easter Sunday. So it's not going to be April the 4th. More than likely, we're looking at April the 11th, maybe April the 18th, or April the 25th. But more than anything, like I'm looking forward to the Blue versus Gold spring game. I'm eagerly anticipating it. I want to see how things coming together. I've been seeing different little clips of guys working out, and I saw a clip where they was talking about them installing the go-go offense, and it was, I think, like the third day of installation, second day installation, whatever the case may be. So at this point in the season, they're really starting to, get things going. You know what I'm saying? Adrian Cook said, Coach, them clips you seen, that's me running on a popped hamstring. No, and this is the crazy thing about it. What you talking about? That clip I saw, man, Cook still running over people, like just running people over, bro. I'm like, God, dog. And Adrian Cook said, I seen JSU DBs trash, LOL. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of JSU fans, been talking about. I don't see a lot. I saw a few online in terms of on social media talking about how JSU, gonna be the team to beat with the Woo. And I'm like, look, bro. I know it's the off season and not a lot is going on, but we don't know what JSU gonna be. I mean, until somebody bump off PV, in my personal opinion, PV the team to beat in the SWAC. Now I know JSU fans might not want to acknowledge that. And I mean, JSU fans said PV fans did come to the vet and they talked a lot of trash. I was unaware of that. And they were saying after the SWAC championship game, they talked a lot of trash online. And then that's why a lot of JSU fans was happy that PV blew the big lead in the Celebration Bowl. And I'm like, man, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then the thing that got me crooked, though, man, they got people comparing Lockhart to Robert Superman Kent, saying, like, Lockhart could be the best quarterback to come through JSU, that Lockhart, going to be better than Robert Superman Kent. And I'm like, come on, bro. Like, why are they putting such, like, lofty expectations on him? I mean, to me, it's kind of like the Southern fans that saying, hey, in Coach Faulk first season, they're going to win the Celebration Bowl. I think in a perfect world, yeah, that'll be the case. And I wouldn't be mad if they exceeded my expectations. But, you don't want to get your hopes up too high and have unrealistic expectations out the gate. And the same thing with Lockhart. Like, they saying Lockhart, going to be better than Robert Superman Kent. I'm like, man, bro, they need to pump their brakes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this every JSU fan, but I done seen a couple little things on social media. So you got some JSU fans that really believe in their team. They really believe JSU going to win the SWAC championship again and go back to the Celebration Bowl and win the Celebration Bowl. But to me, it's too early. It's too early in the offseason to determine anything. We didn't even reach the spring game yet. So all of these people that saying JSU going to do this and JSU going to do that, it's too early to tell. And all the people that saying Marshall Faulk was a bad hire and he didn't come to National Signing Day and he didn't wear Southern University merchandise for at press row for the Super Bowl, and he didn't change the link in his bio to say he the head football coach at Southern University. And then not on that, but this latest clip. I'm like, bro, this latest clip that, I'm seeing. I'm like, bro, this is what we doing? Is this what we doing, bro? Right. So basically what they're saying is the impact and excellent Marshall Faulk's first interview. So this is his first interview at Southern in terms of since he'd been a head coach, right? So this is his first interview, and in one of Southern University Facebook groups, they point out the fact that he don't have on no Southern University gear, no Southern University merchandise. And I'm like, bro, come on, man. Like, it is what it is. So I'm gonna share this on my channel. Of course, this is a clip from Support Local Baton Rouge. And they interviewing Marshall Faulk. He got like a collar shirt like I wear to work since I'm an administrator now. The only difference is I would have on a pair of slacks, but he has on a pair of jeans. He got a watch. He got some sunshades on, and a white lady interviewing him. And the first thing I saw in the first Southern University Facebook group is the fact that he don't have no Southern University gear on, and I'm like, bro, this is insane. So I'm gonna share that clip. I really didn't get a chance to watch it because I got off from work just like yesterday. I got out of my office super late yesterday. I got out of my office super late today. The only thing that really got me out of there was the fire alarm went off. And I was like, man, let me get out the building. So I guess it was like literacy night or whatever at my school. And I'm like, all right, well, that's my cue to leave. All I took was my Southern University sweatshirt, and I hopped out the door. You know what I'm saying? So I had a lot more stuff to do last night as opposed to tonight. So that's part of the reason why I'm able to do this live stream. But like I said, for me to see this in a couple of the Southern University Facebook groups, them still being critical of him not wearing Southern University merchandise or Southern University apparel, I'm like, man, come on, bro. So it is what it is. But, hopefully he exceed everybody's expectations. So not only hopefully the Southern exceed expectations, but, they get off to a good start in terms of the 2025 Blue versus Gold spring game. And, we'll see how things play out. The last topic I'm going to talk about is, a lot of people, saying that that Coach Faulk was a bad hire, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And, I made it clear before they hired him, until something happens to the point where, I'm like, it's a bad hire. I'm going to support the hire. I'm going to rock with it. And so on and so forth. But, I was big on Trey Oliver. I was big on Tennis Berry. I was big on a few other names. But they ended up getting Coach Faulk. And I'm content with it. And like I said, I'm not going to say anything about, it being a bad hire or whatever the case may be until we actually see what the team looks like come the fall. I'm not even going to say the spring because, spring ball, you're not going to have all the guys in the building. All of those guys not going to play in the 2026 Blue versus Gold spring game. So it's going to be too early to tell, too early to make an assessment, too early to make an evaluation. But all of these people that is, nitpicking and fault finding early in the game at this point, like, who would you prefer Southern University to have hired? A couple people threw out a few names. I can spin it back and start regurgitating all these names. I saw so many different lists. And like I said, no matter who you hired, you wasn't going to satisfy 100% of Jaguar Nation anyway. But at the end of the day, I'm interested to know, like, since people already saying that Coach Faulk wasn't a great hire or, they should have went in a different direction, so on and so forth, whether we in a live stream still or whether, you put in the comment section after the live stream ends, tell me who do you think that Southern University should have hired as the head coach. Man, salute to the family, Joseph David. He said, I'm just surprised that Banks doesn't have Faulk out in BR community trying to win over fans and increase season ticket sales. They are too quiet, not exploiting the honeymoon period. And that's the thing about it, Joseph David. I'm not gonna lie, that's a excellent and phenomenal point. You'll think from a PR standpoint, from a public relations standpoint, in terms of networking, you know, going out in a community, shaking hands, kissing babies, whatever the case may be. The same way politicians do when they beat the campaign trail. I'm surprised, head coach Roman Banks, who, that's one thing people say about Roman Banks. A lot of people are not happy with Southern University's sports program as a whole, especially the football program. But in terms of like fundraising and networking and public relations, the way they talk, like he excels in these different categories. And I'm not surprised, like you say, Joseph David, that they're not really taking advantage, capitalizing, and maximizing this honeymoon period. I mean, to me, this is really like an opportunity to fully monetize having Marshall Faulk at your disposal, since he's the new head coach. I mean, to me, it seemed like they really didn't have a plan in place in regards to that, in terms of, you know, getting a new deal done, whatever supply you're going to have for your Southern University apparel or merchandise. You didn't have that lined up. And, since he's a new coach and, he an NFL Hall of Famer, seeing to me from a PR standpoint and a community outreach standpoint, you would have him out in the community, shaking hands, networking, kissing babies, and just being visible to the public, and just trying to rally people around Jaguar Nation. So, to me, that's a big shock. You know what I'm saying? Man, salute to my brother, Big Joe Townsend. And I talked to Big Joe earlier how Sunday on the Southern Baller Show, he pointed this out in terms of the Marshall Faulk thing I'm talking about now. How when he was at Louisville, you know, he had two head coaches, and one coach he saw all the time, the other coach he rarely saw. If anything, more than anything, the coach you're gonna spend the most time with is your position coach. And he was kind of saying the same thing I was saying. So, it just was kind of validation, that Sunday, I talked about this at church, with our pastor's son who pastors a church somewhere else, in Donaldsonville. In fact, the irony is the church he pastors, Melvin Williams Sr. used to be the pastor that church. But I talked to him about it. I talked to Kevin Walker after Southern University men's basketball game. And, Big Joe Townsend said everything that we've been saying behind the scenes. Even Jay Good and I kind of talked about this behind the scenes also. So everything Joe Townsend said, Sunday on the Southern Baller Show, like either I talked about it in a couple of my videos, I talked about it in live streams, people and I have been having this conversation behind the scenes. So at the end of the day, to me, it was kind of confirmation. And, salute to Big Joe. Salute to Old Hillside Bourbon Company. They sponsored, they're the first sponsor I have of a live stream. And, major shout out to Old Hillside Bourbon Company. If you like spirits, if you like a little whiskey, man, go online, oldhillsidebourboncompany.com. They're increasing their reach. They're increasing their availability in different states. But, if you want to support a black-owned company from the state of North Carolina, go online, Old Hillside Bourbon Company. Also, go follow them on all the different social media platforms. In fact, speaking of Southern University and the Old Hillside Bourbon Company, me and Big Joe could work something out, man. We might have to get Old Hillside Bourbon Company down on the yard for homecoming in 2026. So, me and Joe gonna talk about that behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying? Salute to Dr. Johnson. He said, why didn't Reggie Flood or Perry White ask someone connected to the program about why Faulk isn't wearing Southern University gear before they put it out to the internet? Could have asked an insider for more perspective. And that's an excellent question and an excellent comment, Dr. Johnson, because Kevin Walker said the same thing. The thing that he had an issue with, and for those individuals like, man, coach, you keep talking about Kevin Walker, who Kevin Walker is. If you look at not this season, but the end of the previous season when Southern University won the SWAC East, when I did my live stream after the game, he hopped in a live shot with me, and he was like, man, coach, I was excited, my bad. I was like, man, hey, bro, I rock with you, man, y'all family, man, Jaguar Nation, so it's all good. I wasn't even tripping on it, I just was, happy he always show love and show support, you know what I'm saying? But he was saying that, he felt like that conversation in terms of, Perry White and Reggie Flood, he felt like it was airing too much of Southern University's dirty laundry. And he felt like, these type of things should have been talked about behind the scenes. And basically, Dr. Johnson, he said the same thing that you said. And I'm not gonna lie, he, after the game, when we chopped it up for about 5 minutes, like, he expressed his frustration with the situation, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like, there is a contingency, a portion of Jaguar Nation that is agitated that essentially, like, Perry White and Reggie Flood have been having these conversations, and they feel like all it did was become a viral topic because, one, it's the offseason and not a lot is going on. And not only that, but other fan bases in the SWAC and other fan bases in the HBCU realm, they kind of feed off it. They've been pouring gas on the fire. They've been fanning the flames. And at the end of the day, that's an excellent comment. And that's a very valid point. And many people have kind of been saying the same thing that you just said. We just kind of been talking about it offline and behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying? Dr. Johnson said those guys are more connected to the program than the average fan. They could have reached out and asked for more info to offer a balanced perspective on the matter. That's an excellent point. And I'm not going to lie, truthfully speaking, Dr. Johnson, 582, I could not have articulated it any better myself. So that's an excellent and phenomenal point. And like I said, I couldn't articulate it that any better myself. And, one thing Kevin Walker was saying, he was like, people don't know all of the things that Marshall Faulk is doing behind the scenes. So that's one thing he brought up. And even when I was talking to Pastor T behind the scenes, after church Sunday, he was saying, people don't see what's going on behind the scenes. They don't know what he's doing. They don't know, what type of partnerships he could be bringing to Southern, what type of affiliations, what type of connections are coming to Southern because he's affiliation with Southern. So at the end of the day, like, these are very valid points, He said Reggie Flood even brought up Faulk's Me Too allegations, which was severely disappointing. Say you're a hater without saying it. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. To me, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But I feel like that's kind of hitting below the belt. And for me personally, because, and I'm not trying to take no shot at Scotty, salute to him. But somebody told me this after a Southern game. They was like, man, coach, hey, I rock with you. I really don't rock with Scotty. And I'm like, man, like, why not? I mean, I couldn't watch his live streams all the time, because, in education, or even when I was coaching, especially when I was coaching, last year, like, man, I was busy all the time. So I really didn't have time, to catch, certain people live streams, whether, is other LDBC family members that's, talking about different sports topics or even boxing, or other content creators in the HBC realm, and we talking about, my brother C. Wells with Swag Talk, salute to him. Doc Holiday with HBCU Overdrive, salute to the family, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't even get a chance to check out some of these brothers at times, you know what I'm saying? But, but like he was saying, like, hey, man, I really don't rock with, Scotty because he negative woo the woo. And I'm like, hey, man, it's each his own. And he's starting to feel the same way about Reggie Flood. He kind of feel like, it's too much mess, it's too much drama, it's too much negativity. And I guess, his point of view and his perspective is he feels like negativity, especially in the HBCU realm, like it drives content, it drives views, it drives subscriber count. So he kind of feels like that's why they really, went that route, went that approach. Me, at the end of the day, what I really want is what's best for Southern University football and Southern University is a whole Southern University athletic department, the whole nine. So at the end of the day, like, it is what it is. But to me, that was off limits. And, who knows, had, these allegations not been brought up, he might have been a head coach at Southern already at this point. So, we don't really know. But I think, from what I was told behind the scenes and what I heard, he probably would have been the head coach instead of Jason Rollins. And we saw how Jason Rollins, how that situation played out. Adrian Crook said, I ain't going to lie. That's always been Reggie. He asks the most controversial questions. Yeah. This person that, that say really, he's starting to not rock with Reggie and he didn't rock with Scotty. He kind of feel the same way, Crook. But I mean, like I said, each his own, you know what I'm saying? And Adrian Crook said Carlos always been Carlos. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I really rock with Carlos Brown. He and I had we had an English class, an English 111 class together at Southern, like like 21 years ago. So, I know I'm dating myself, but it is what it is. But yeah, So yeah, so I rock with Carlos Brown. You know what I'm saying? Well, I really rock with all the content creators in the space. I really don't have, no personal beef or no personal grudge with anybody or whatever. I just support people. Adrian Cook said, "Now my pops would take off the headset, call in as a guy named Jonathan." Yeah, I like that. I like that. And ask that. LOL. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, I do not blame him, Adrian Cook. I don't blame him at all. Dr. Johnson 582 said they complain about what Faulk is doing with the brain, but throwing your own head coach under the bus is diabolical. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That's crazy work to me. He said, and next level said, he said, it really made me look at Reggie Flood differently. And it's the thing about it, Dr. Johnson. And I mean, not only that, but like you giving ammo and ammunition and bulletin board material like the other SWAC fan bases and other HBCU fan bases. And like I said, this entire conversation is really being driven by like other fan bases, and they just keep pouring gas on the fire. They keep fanning the flames. And the crazy thing about it, I didn't realize how much of a viral topic it was in the HBCU realm until I did my video. And to this day, Dr. Johnson, that's my most viewed piece of content on this channel. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. Like, why can't the negative stories get more publicity? Why can't the positive stories get more publicity? Why can't the positive stories get more light? Why can't the positive stories, be pushed to the forefront? So man, salute to EA. He said, knock, knock, who's there? He said, FAFO. Who? Fuck and found outside. Yeah, you got to be a fam. You hater, EA. It's all love, EA. Salute to you. Fam, you already. Man, salute to my brother Jared 11 Green. Y'all already know Thursday we're going to be in the building with another edition of HBCU Fanatics. And, we're going to try to just come Thursday, we're going to try to, do something, hopefully not on a negative tip, but we're going to see what we come up with, you know what I'm saying? Adrian Cook said, so when you in class with sideline Coach Carlos Brown, man, Crook, Crook, that was like 21 years ago, Crook. Cause I remember me and him, we had this like I said, this English 111 class in Harris Hall, right? And that was the year senior had passed, senior had passed that year. And for people that really rock with my channel, like Dio Bernard, that's my people, you know what I'm saying? Like his dad and my dad worked together like a lot of years at this chemical plant in St. James, you know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna lie, he didn't say nothing negative about Dio. He just was saying, you know, Dio had dropped the interception in the Bayou Classic when they played in the Bayou Classic against Houston, in Houston. Like that Bayou Classic after Katrina in Houston and that Bayou Classic in Shreveport in Independence Stadium, like that was the last Bayou Classes. The last two Bayou Classes I didn't go to. Like in the last, I'll probably say last like 40 years, I only missed like 3 Bayou Classics. So those are 2 of those Bayou Classes I missed. Those 2 of the 3 Bayou Classes I missed, but basically he was just pointing out, like, hey, if Dio Bernard would have caught the interception, like, he would have made a house call. I mean, he didn't say that negative. He just was saying, like, hey, if he'd have caught the interception, that would have been a touchdown. It still wouldn't matter because Southern was getting the brakes beat off him in that game anyway, you know what I'm saying? Big Joe say, this reminds me of Texas boosters that hated on Charlie Strong. Did the same person who brought up Marshall, Me Too-ish, bring up what Pete Carroll was doing at USC. Well, I'm not gonna lie, he Big Joe, he an HBCU content creator. You could Google him online, his name Reggie Flood. So now he ain't gonna bring up nothing like that because basically he in the HBCU realm. And so that's why you ain't gonna see Reggie Flood bring up like nothing when it comes to like PWI, especially like Power 4 PWIs, because like he an HBCU content creator. And like a couple people saying in the chat, more than anything, like he's somewhat controversial, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, yeah, Crook like Dio, that's my people, you know what I'm saying? So, shout out to him. In fact, I done brought this up, him and also, the late Lionel Nicholas, rest in peace to him, still praying for his family. Those are supposed to be like, a couple of the first interviews I have for this, for this project I got coming up, or for this show that I got coming up down the line. I'm gonna see how I'm gonna play it. Now that Lionel has passed, that's the interview that I didn't get, but me and him was supposed to, and we were supposed to link up, man. So I mean, like I said, condolences still to his family. I think it's probably been, a few weeks now, but they still in my thoughts and prayers. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get Dio on the show. Dio, that's my people. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Johnson said, Reggie Flood, a wolf in sheep's clothing. He said, I see what he's doing. Faulk wasn't his pick, and he ain't in the SU inner circle anymore. So he is hating from outside the club. He said, I'm watching him. Yeah, I feel you. Crook said, I got some stories. Hey, bro, Crook. Hey, I'm gonna keep it a buck, Crook. Hey, man, you gonna have to link up, Crook. Hey, real spill, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to see how I'm gonna start it out in terms of like, who gonna be the first guest. Uh, there's definitely gonna be some off-season type stuff. I'll be too busy doing Southern University season, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Crook, we're gonna have to link up. Like I said, you, Dio, I'm close to some other former Southern University football players. So I'm gonna get the ball rolling, and once I get it rolling, and then we just gonna, try to get as many people, people on the show. You know what I'm saying? Chris Stanley 305. He got them FAMU colors, so he must be a Rattler too. Salute to you, Chris Stanley. Big Joe said controversy equals content, nasty work. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. Me and somebody was talking about this behind the scenes. Uh, and I pointed out how someone else that really rock with the channel. It was like, man, I don't rock with. They had a huge issue with Scotty with all script or whatever. But somebody else told me this, not this person, but another person. It was like, man, coach, one thing I like about you, like you keep it a buck, you keep it real, but you don't really like dwell in the negativity. And I'm like, look, bro, if I got to do something that's extremely negative to get like clicks and views and a huge fan base and a huge subscriber count, like I'm not gonna do it. If I got to do anything that's gonna tarnish senior's name, or if I have to do anything to really drag down like my school or other HBCU schools, anybody in HBCU family just in general, like I ain't doing it. And to be honest with you, Big Joe, that was like a huge part of the reason why, I think my channel probably didn't grow as fast as I want, as quick as I wanted. But, if I had to stray away from who I am as a person, as an individual, then, I wasn't willing to do it. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get it twisted. You know, one of the people that I'm cool with that has a bigger channel than me, they kind of was giving me some advice behind the scenes. And, I'm still gonna do my HBCU content. However, more than likely I'm probably gonna start another channel in addition to this channel. Because, basically I'm just trying to grow the brand. But yeah, I feel like the sky's the limit. And if I gotta do anything negative, anything really to put SU down, or Jaguar Nation down, or to HBCU, family down in general, like I'm not gonna go for it, Big Joe. But at the end of the day, you know, we know that controversy, it does sell. Like you said, controversial content. Controversy equals content. That's nasty work. It's definitely nasty work to me. And like I say, I mean, we're not even just talking about HBCU football. We uh just talking about just content just in general, like negativity, especially amongst our people. I don't know why is this such a huge drawing card, and especially like I say in the HBCU realm. That's why I took such offense to Cam Newton when he talked about Bethune Cookman and Grambling when they were scuffing. I'm like, bro, if that had been Auburn and LSU, I guarantee you that this buck dancing, boot licking, banana eating monkey, I guarantee you he wouldn't have had the same energy. All of that stuff he said about Mika Joseph, he wouldn't have said about Lane Kiffin or no SEC coach, as far as I'm concerned. So that's why I really can't. I really can't stand people like him. To me, he just as bad as Stephen A. Smith, Jason Whitlock, uh, Timothy Bradley, Sean Porter. Like, to me, he just as bad as any of these jigs, these bootlicking individuals like Taco Hat. Man, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I can't stand these type of individuals from a content creation standpoint. Like I said, if all you got to do is, put your people down, drag your people down, or come up with like controversial topics or whatever the case may be, it is what it is. I mean, that's one thing people know. I'm fair, I'm balanced, I'm unbiased, whatever the case may be. All right, even, because I'm going to use Avis Heat, because, I was supposed to have a video talking about something silly Avis Heat said behind the scenes or whatever the case may be, in terms of one of our the Facebook group he got, Rough in the Swag. But even somebody like him was saying basically he felt like Southern University fans flocked to my channel because I'm anti-JSU. Now somebody like Crook keep it a buck. Crook haven't understood that he can't stand JSU. But I'm giving you my honest assessment, my honest opinion. I mean, Lockhart, I think he did decent for a true freshman. After a certain point, but I'm not gonna lie. I really didn't think that JSU was gonna be, as good as they was, not this season, but previous season. So after a while, I'm like, yeah, they're gonna win the SWAC championship. But I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't sold on them out the gate. So, it kind of is what it is, you know what I'm saying? So So it kind of is what it is. Dr. Johnson, 582 say Reggie Flood does a SU live on his personal channel, begging for money with no SU gear on either. He said, but got the nerve to talk about what Faulk ain't doing. So what the we even talking about? Big facts. I feel what you're saying. Big Joe said, I don't even remember anybody bringing up Coach Faulk Me Too allegations when he was at Colorado. But 3 months at Southern, he here goes the dumb ish. Yeah, and that's the crazy thing about it. I mean, Big Joe, this ain't like, some PWI content creator. It's like a content creator in the space, a Southern University one that covers Southern University heavy on top of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like I say, something like that for me, it definitely would be, out of bounds and off limits. I'm gonna just kind of give you another example, right? There was a Southern University player that started out at a big PWI. Then he ended up transferring to Jackson State, then Texas Southern. Then he came to Southern. For all of my diehard members of Jaguar Nation or all my diehard HBCU fans, y'all know who I'm talking about. He had a domestic violence situation, right? Somebody sent me there like, man, Coach, why you didn't cover that? And I'm like, man, I am not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Like everything that I would have said about the situation would have been true. But man, I'm not touching on negativity like that. So you're right, Big Joe, like the dumb issue, you know what I'm saying? Dr. Johnson said, personal Facebook page, begging for money with his broke, you know what? Yes, indeed. Dr. Johnson said he bought it up about 4 different times in his life. Yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I'm all about promoting Southern University. It's a brand, it's a university, it's an athletic program, it's a school, it's a football program, it's just HBCUs in general, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, if I had to get out here and say something negative or do negative stories or push negative content, like, man, hey, man, I don't rock with that, you know what I'm saying? Man, salute to the family, Casio Odell, 5308. He said, what's up, coach? Man, I'm chilling, fam. Man, salute to you, man. I'm gonna hit you up behind the scenes when one of these nights I ain't tied up because my weekend gonna be super busy. They even got me going to work on a Saturday now, so it is what it is. Man, I can't complain, you know what I'm saying? But man, salute to Casio, salute to my people, you know what I'm saying? Joe Townsend said, I just looked up, oh boy, nigga sound like he swallowed a frog. Yeah, man, hey, they giving Reggie Flood the business, but like I said, I mean, I ain't got nothing negative to say about him, but I mean, the SU, the SU negativity. And that's one thing, like, I really can't stand, we talked about this, Sunday when Big Joe talked about, how from an outsider's perspective, it looked like the members of Jaguar Nation that's like doing all this fault finding and nitpicking when it comes to Coach Faulk. It just seemed like fault finding nitpicking from his perspective. And like I said, it was confirmation to me. But we also talked about how like people in the social media space, especially when it comes to Facebook or just social media platforms in general, like it's a lot of negativity. And the reason I bring this up, I'm not even gonna get this buster, this hater, no shine. I'm not gonna say their name. But in my last edition of HBCU Fanatics with my brother Jerry Lovin Green and myself, we talked about how only 6 HBCU players was invited to the 2026 NFL Combine. Man, this person basically, I posted the link in Rough and the Swag, and they had something negative to say. And I'm like, brother, you always got some negative ninjas that always got something negative to say. I mean, if you don't like the title for the live stream, you don't have to click on the link. But if all you got something, the only thing you have to say is something negative, It's like, bro, something wrong with you. So that's what I'm saying. We live in a world that's filled with miserable people. They only have negative perspectives and negative points of view, and they just pessimistic. And I'm like, me, bro, I'm the type of person, my parents raised me to where, hey, when it comes to certain things, or when it comes to most, just everything in general, if you don't have nothing positive to say, don't say nothing at all. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be truthful, I'm going to give you my honest perspective. But for you to just get in the Facebook group when I post a link to HBCU Fanatics, for you just to be talking out the side of your neck and have something negative to say, like, look, bro, if you don't rock with the content, just don't click on the link. But for you to have a negative comment, I'm like, bro, I'm just sick of these ninjas, banana eating monkeys, crabs in a barrel mentality, as far as I'm concerned. Dr. Johnson said, I think it's the bump on his forehead that got him talking crazy. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. y'all, y'all dragging him. Y'all dragging him through the mud tonight, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, but like I said, I mean, hey, I'm all about uplifting Southern University football, Southern University football program, Southern University athletic program. Southern University is an institution. Southern University is a brand. And like I say, I stick with and I rock with, just the HBCU family in general, you know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing about it is we're just gonna use the SWAC basketball tournament, for example, right? I know it's a lot of, fan base trash talking in these different SWAC groups that I'm in, but we're just gonna pretend, right? We're gonna say, let's say Texas Southern men. I'm just throwing any team out there. Win the SWAC men's tournament, and we're gonna say Bethune-Cookman women won. Hey, when they get up against these PWI Power Fours in the NCAA tournament, I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them, and I'm rooting for whoever come out to me at. So at the end of the day, even when, other fan base start tearing each other down, they're like, I don't rock with that too much. You know what I'm saying? Cashier Odell say, I hope they don't let him on the sidelines this season. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, Cashier. Hey, talking to people behind the scenes, like, they really, they really agitated about this, this viral, off-season take, when it comes to him. And I'm not gonna lie, even Perry White, I rock with Jaguar Journal, but a lot of people wasn't feeling his perspective and his point of view and his take. And just even him like interviewing Tremaine Jackson and then, trying to use those same talking points that he used against Marshall Faulk. He asked some of those same questions to Tremaine Jackson, and Tremaine Jackson was talking about how important it was for him to push the PV brand and this, that, and the third. And, one of my people was like, man, he's just trying to push a narrative, more than anything. And I'm like, well, I mean, it is what it is. It's his platform. He entitled to his perspective, his point of view. So, it is what it is. But as far as I'm concerned, Coach Faulk showing up to National Signing Day. Coach Faulk wearing Southern University gear, for press row at the Super Bowl. Him changing the link in his bio to say, I'm the head football coach at Southern University. All of those things are not going to win you games in October and November. So at the end of the day, it kind of is what it is. Big Joe said, if you're hating on the head coach before the season, you shouldn't be holding no confetti when they win. And that's the same thing I say, Big Joe. That conversation that people saying that they hired the wrong guy. And I'm like, bro, it's way too early to make that assessment, to make that determination. Like, it's way too early for that. But some people still pushing that narrative. And I promise you, if they start winning and they greatly exceed expectations, and they start kicking butt and taking names, hey, I want you to have that same energy come October, come November. Because I guarantee if they win the Celebration Bowl, all this is going to be a moot point. This is going to be a non-conversation. Like, people are not going to care about all of these different talking points when it comes to these three topics in the standpoint of he didn't show up at National Signing Day. He didn't wear Southern University gear at the Super Bowl. And he didn't change the link in his bio to say he the head football coach at Southern University. All of those things are going to be moot points as far as I'm concerned. So it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Dr. Johnson said that's why he begging for cash outs now. He already saving for those field passes. Procast. Yes, indeed. Dr. Johnson said that's why he begging for cash outs. He said gotta be tough when your wife is the breadwinner. Woo! Yes, indeed. That's crazy work. That's crazy work. You know what I'm saying? Big Joe said, I'm glad Michael Vick didn't coach at Southern. He said, niggas will be playing. Who let the dogs out? That's the intro. Oh, man. But I ain't gonna lie, Big Joe. Even with Mike Vick, the thing that pissed me off with the whole situation, you got white people that kill black people every day. They don't spend, not only do they not go to prison, they don't spend one day in jail. Nah, I know some people gonna be like, man, coach, you didn't like animals. Yeah, I'm not an animal lover. I don't own any pets. You know, I didn't even want to really get my wife and the kids to my ex-wife, and the kids, them two dogs. But they want him, I got him. So I'm not really an animal lover, but now don't get me wrong. You know, I don't believe in being cruel to animals. But he served 2 years in prison for dog fighting. When you got people every day, especially non-black people, white people, that kill black people every single day and don't do not one day in jail, let alone one day in prison. So you mean to tell me this man went to prison for 2 years for dog fighting? Like, that's why I say, bro, this country here is filled with double standards. It's filled with hypocrisy. You got somebody like Diddy getting 4 years in prison, and Vince McMahon, who did way worse stuff than Diddy. Defecated on women the whole nine, bro. And he was able to sell the WWE. He was able to pass generational wealth on to his children. And he out here at his old crusty age living his best life while Diddy in prison. Man, hey, it don't make no sense, bro. So at the end of the day, this the world we living in. And, negativity, it does drive content. But hopefully, Jaguar Nation, we could stick together. We could rally behind Coach Faulk. And not only that, I'm hoping and believing that Coach Faulk is going to exceed all expectations of the negative individuals, the doubters, the naysayers. Like I said, we didn't even get to the 2026 Blue versus Gold spring game yet. And they talking about, Coach Faulk was a bad hire and, they should have hired somebody else. And I want those individuals that wasn't a proponent of Coach Faulk being hired at Southern and that's really doing all this fault finding and nitpicking. Tell me in the comment section who Southern should have hired as the head coach instead of Marshall Faulk. And not only that, do you think that individual would have exceeded what he's doing right now? So at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm supporting Coach Faulk. I'm supporting Jaguar Nation. And I believe Southern going to exceed some expectations. Big Joe said Mike Vick spent 2 years in jail just for owning the property where the fights happened. But the Woods who groomed Vick in dog fighting are still outside. And that's the thing. That's the thing that make you mad, Big Joe. It's the extreme hypocrisy, the extreme double standards. you bringing up that situation. Look at somebody like Big Ben, you know, and I ain't trying to throw shade because I know my brother, my brother Brent Fox, salute to him. But guess what? Man, Big Ben was out here SAing women. You know what I'm saying? Big Ben didn't do not one day in jail, but Mike Vick did 2 years in prison. You know what I'm saying? Whether y'all want to talk Plexico Burris or whoever, you know what I'm saying? It's a ridiculous double standard, man. So Mike Vick did 2 years in prison for dog fighting, but Big Ben actually SN women and graping women, and he didn't do one day in jail. Man, double standard is disgusting in this country, bro. And he said, I don't want to see Tramel Howard doing any damn podcast with Richard Flood in the flaw. No, sir. Yes, indeed. Christopher Duke said, Faulk equal Vic 2.0. Oh, Lord. There you come, Christopher Dukes. All y'all GSU fans. Hey, I'm surprised Crook ain't on you already, Christopher Dukes. I'm surprised he ain't on you already. But at the end of the day, it goes to show you the double standards that we have in this country in terms of, the Faulk Me Too thing with Reggie Flood or the Vic, Big Ben, Vince McMahon, Diddy. It is what it is. Big Joe said, I don't remember DSU fans bringing up the fact that Coach Jackson is associated with the rolling 60s Crips. How many games did DSU win again? For real, huh? I mean, bro, hey, at the end of the day, bro, it's like, man, Big Joe, man, if you could get black people to stick together and stay on code, I mean, I see why they're scared of black unity. I really do see it. Because, we can see it right here in the LDBC. But at the end of the day, it's like, bro, you cannot get black people to stick together, stay on code. Whether we talking about Southern University or whether we just talking about black people in general, man. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I'm getting ready to shut down this live stream in a minute. Man, I appreciate everybody that came through, that showed love. I'm trying to get this particular live stream to over 500 views. So please like the live stream, share it, subscribe to the channel, comment in the comment section, and hype the live stream too. Be certain to be sure to hype the live stream. So hype it, like, share, subscribe. We trying to keep the channel growing. I got some other big things that I got planned. I talk about it a little bit in this live stream, but I got some other stuff that I didn't talk about that I'm trying to organize behind the scenes. I'm trying to give y'all the best content I can give y'all. And like I say, I'm trying to uplift and elevate. Southern University is a school, is an institution, is a brand. It's an athletic program, it's a football program, the whole nine. And not only that, but shine a positive light on all HBCUs, even HBCUs like GSU. But shout out to Jaguar Nation, shout out to the entire HBCU family. Dr. Johnson said, do a live on Reggie Flood and all his skeletons in the closet. He said, I'll bring my family and friends to listen to that one. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Hey, I can't do that, Dr. Johnson. Hey, I rock with you. It's all love. But no, man, I can't do that. Nah, man, I can't do that, Dr. Johnson. I ain't gonna even lie to you. Fam. But yeah, like I said, I appreciate everybody that came through, showed some love. I'm getting ready to shut this live stream now. I'm gonna catch y'all on the rebound. We're gonna be on my brother Jared Loving Green channel Thursday, HBCU Fanatics. I got a video that's gonna drop pretty soon. Hopefully we could change the channel and change the narrative about some of this negative Southern University stuff. But I'm going to catch y'all on the rebound. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal evening. Peace and blessings to the family. And go Jags, you dig.